So I got these comments on a video that I posted responding to a critique of Calvinism where I defended Reformed theology in light of 2 Peter 3:9. And while I responded to the original posters of the comments with a comment of my own, I thought that it would be a good launch pad for me to discuss this with the rest of you. Essentially, the argument is Calvinism can't be true because it violates the idea of man's autonomous free will, therefore meaning that God is making everything happen and God is culpable or God is responsible for the sins that are committed. However, this is the response that I gave him. I said, no, this violates the Reformed principle of primary, secondary, and tertiary movers, as well as the understanding of ultimacy versus immediacy. Reformed theology does not teach that God makes, forces, or coerces anyone into sin. Such a position would be obviously unbiblical. However, the Bible does say that God predestined certain sins to occur, specifically the crucifixion of Jesus, which is the worst sin I would say ever committed, in Acts chapter 4, verse 24 through 28. And the Bible also says that he works through such sins to bring about goodness, such as the story of Joseph in Genesis 50, verse 20. It says this without seeing God as culpable or responsible for those sins being committed. We people who subscribe to Reformed theology take both of the Bible's teachings, that God is sovereign over creation and yet man is responsible for their sins. We take both of those truths and hold them as equally true and non-contradictory. And I would say, at possibly the risk of sounding arrogant, but honestly, this is just because I am genuinely convinced of this and find it to be true, that most people who are objecting to Calvinism are just objecting to biblical truth they aren't prepared for yet. And I know that sounds like, oh, so you must be prepared for it. That's not what I'm saying, but I am saying that a lot of the time when you get down to the brass tacks, when you get under the covers, people are objecting not to Calvinism, but they're objecting to things the Bible teaches because Calvinism is the camp that faithfully articulates those teachings. So I have nothing but love for this guy. I hope that he is close with the Lord and growing in his faith, but I do have to stand up and say, no, what you're saying isn't true about Reformed theology and isn't true in light of what Scripture teaches.